Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Global Positive Health Institute podcast series. This one is our Scicast series, where we take a closer look at an important article in the field. And I'm always excited to have Simon Matthews join me from our board as we discuss these papers. And today's paper is a very recent one. It's from May of 2026. It was published in the Frontiers in Psychology, and it is by Akhtar and a couple of other authors, and it's entitled Mapping the Evidence Base of Positive Psychology Interventions Effectiveness, Limitations, and Future Directions. And this is very much aligned with everything that we teach and discuss and connect about within the GPHI on the topic of positive health. And so let's dive in and review what the big takeaways are. And so with that, I'll let you kick it off, Simon. So what was the main takeaway from this article?
Yeah, thanks, Liana. I guess if you had to distill it down to a single takeaway, then you would say that positive psychology interventions work, and the effect size of them is modest. So let's unpack that a little bit, and I might start unpacking it by going back to what the authors actually did. So this covers 25 years worth of research from the year 2000 through to the year 2025. It involves 63 primary studies. Many of them would have been randomized control trials. And it's worth noting here for people who are perhaps not necessarily familiar with research processes. RCTs are very important. Randomized controlled trials, of course, are very important in lots of things, including healthcare, but they're by no means the only way of understanding. And Liana, you and I both have a friend and colleague, Professor Darren Morton in Australia, who's very, very fond of saying that there has never been a randomized controlled trial of the parachute. And there's certainly never been a double-blind crossover randomized controlled trial of the parachute. Yet we continue to use them, and we trust them, and we know that they work. That said, RCTs are useful, particularly when we're trying to discern whether there is an effect, and avoid conflating it with other things. So this systematic review, conducted by Akhtar and colleagues, examined 63 different primary studies and 11 meta-analyses. And the meta-analysis, of course, is a way of aggregating the data from a number of primary studies. Again, meta-analyses have some advantages, but they also tend to, what's the word I might use here? I might say whitewash a little bit, some of the differences. You tend to smooth out wrinkles in a meta-analysis, and sometimes that loss of detail matters in the longer run. So it's worth noting that although this represents a significant effort to do exactly what the title says, map the evidence, we also need to acknowledge the limitations of the way that that's done, and not as my mother would have said, over egg the cake. Um, all of that all of that evidence, though, does point to the idea that positive psychology interventions work. The effect size is modest, and modest does not mean that we should just sort of shrug our shoulders and say, yeah. There are many outcomes in healthcare with modest effect sizes, including pharmacological treatments that have only modest effect sizes.
Yeah, and I also like to thank you for that. And I also like to think of it that in that meta-analysis, they are including a variety of interventions into that soup and a variety of the quality of the studies. So if you, like you said, then smooth
Yeah.
all that out, put all that together, in the soup of the meta-analysis, and that it
Yeah.
still comes out statistically significant at any means, even a small statistically significant result
Yeah.
is something to pay attention to. But of course,
Yeah.
it does need to be unpacked to get into specific interventions for specific populations, et cetera. But it's a great bird's eye view that, hey, this is something to pay attention to.
Absolutely, and it's certainly a really needed perspective in this field that enables those of us who are here right now to kind of quantify where things are up to, but it also forms an important basis for future researchers to be able to continue these examinations.